everyone, we're here at the Alfred Music and Make Music booth with composer and educator Scott Watson. How you doing today?
Hey, good to be here, Dan.
Having a good week so far?
Yeah, gone to some great concerts, as always, seen some great sessions, and met a lot of very enthusiastic band directors that are happy to be back post-pandemic, building their programs and getting their programs off to the ground.
Awesome. So you just made the transition from teaching in a public school to higher education.
Yes, I did. I taught for 35 years in the Parkland School District in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and now I'm working at Cairn University in suburban Philadelphia. Great, but smaller school of music, but really awesome program there. And I'm doing some orchestration, composition, technology classes, and liking the change. It's a new challenge. It's like starting all over again.
Yeah. So what are you working on?
I just finished a project. It's not an Alfred project, but I just finished a 24-minute silent film score for a very excellent adult community band, the New Holland Band. They're out near Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and they're going to premiere this piece with the silent film is the Buster Keaton film, The Goat. It's like a silly slapstick comedy. So 24 minutes of silent film projected on a big screen with my sort of a theater ensemble playing, and it was a great project to work on. I did it all summer, in addition to writing for a few pieces for Alfred.
Awesome. Yeah. So you've done some of those silent films.
I had. So what I did was, especially during the pandemic, when there wasn't as much traditional work, I would take some small scenes of silent films and score them, and that was kind of like just getting my feet wet with the idea of it. And then the New Holland Band wanted to do something bigger, so instead of an 8-minute or a 3-minute scene, this is the entire film.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge. I had to learn some new, like to create the click track that the director uses. I had to sort of get comfortable with some new technology and syncing the music, and use Finale. That was super helpful to create the score.
Cool. So you recently wrote a blog post about lost titles that were lost within the virtual teaching kind of times. How did you go about, what was your selection process? What was that?
Well, that was rough because there's way more pieces. What I really wanted to do with that blog post was just make directors, or just remind them that, hey, there was a lot of music that was set to be premiered or set to be published by even publishers other than Alfred, but just a lot of composers had some really great content that then ended up sort of just, fizzling and falling through the cracks. And I felt bad about that, not just my own work that cycle, but a lot of other composer friends. And I just wanted to sort of highlight that. So I did basically reach out to some composers who I knew had premieres that didn't happen, or had pieces they just wrote that they expected to really blow up and be some, get noticed, and ended up, because of that pandemic year was just a lost year. So I just asked them if they have a piece they'd recommend. I let them select the piece, basically. I said, which piece would you say was the one you wish would have been highlighted? And so, yeah, I hope it helped. I hope at least it got people thinking about, hey, let's look back a year or two and see what I could have performed if I had my normal program that maybe now I'll take a look at.
For sure. One last question, one last thought. Are there any educators, composers, someone throughout your career who's just kind of really had a lasting impact that's stuck with you?
Well, we were just talking about this last night we at the composer dinner, that the composers that I gravitated towards when I was younger were composers like Vincent Persichetti or Vaclav Nelibel. These are old school composers whose music is just awesome and has a harmonic language. It's a little bit challenging, not inaccessible, but I just loved that kind of music. And I think what that shows, when my daughter was in high school, she's now a music teacher herself, she would have said her favorite piece was the Chaminade Flute Concerto. And I just think it just goes to show you how kids love great music when they're exposed to it. And thankfully there's a lot of, probably more than ever, really wonderful composers. Far more that there used to be like a limited set of, people like Alfred Reed and Clifton Williams and Robert Sheldon and whatever. But now there's like hundreds of really talented composers. That's the only thing. If I was continuing to be a band director, I'd be choosing, what repertoire from all the awesome pieces that are out there.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks so much for taking some time to chat.
Thank you, Dan.